Kenny, he's you chilling way too hard. You got to sit up at least, bro. At least. My man was laying down with the TV. Come on, this is $1 million worth of information today.
Oh, man. He's absorbing. He's all right. He's all right.
Way too hard.
Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. Thank you so much. My man, Bill, appreciate you reaching out, family. LaKendra, Michael, Sarah, Albert, Sean, everybody, Maurice, Technikia, TL, everybody. Appreciate you guys, man. As always, thank you so much for being here. And we are about to get this thing rolling. So I got a lot of hate mail. Some people even sent me death threats about not the audio being bad. I'm just playing. It's a little exaggeration, but the audio was kind of bad on the live Airbnb joint we did on Thursday for the meetup. So I apologize for that. You know what? It takes a special type of you have to do it a couple times to understand that just because you have a microphone in your hand, you can't keep the microphone way down here and it still register, you know? So he was talking, he was doing his thing, but he should have had the microphone a little bit higher, or we should have had the microphone turned up. But either way, I apologize for you guys not being able to hear all the good information. But what I did talk with him about is him coming in and doing just a private session just for us, okay? So that is in the works. He's got to hammer in on a date and time, and you'll get that same information. Maybe not as long because that he was on there for a minute, but we'll get it to you. But I did want to piggyback and talk about Airbnbs a little bit today. Kind of show you guys a little bit of how I look at these things, and then we're only going to do that for a little bit, and then I know it's going to be a whole bunch of questions. I've had a lot of questions since Thursday about Airbnbs, and I'll try to open it up and answer some of those questions for you. But first and foremost, let's just talk about why. Why, as a wholesaler, why is this important for us to learn? Why is this another something else that we need to take note of? Here's what I know is that this is a trend that's happening. It's already happening. It's already been going on. There's already people that have exploited this thing. And so we need to get up to date to what's going on in the real estate world. We're not just wholesalers, like I talked about the other week. If you're coming here just to be a wholesaler, then get your money back, because this is not the place for that. This is the place for us to grow as real estate entrepreneurs and businessmen and businesswomen. So we need to have a good grasp of everything that's going on in the real estate world. And for me, one of the great things about this is that even though it's tightening up, even though we definitely are seeing it tighten up out here in the Atlanta area for sure, eventually things will always move in cycles. So I don't know if guys know this, real estate is cyclical, right? It's always going to kind of roll. Like every 7 to 9 years, we have this little recession thing, or 10 years, we have this little recession thing, right? Bubble's going to burst. We're going to take a little hit. Interest rates going to do their thing. It just happens, right? Just like the market, right? It goes up and down, right? But what we need to know is that when it's down, what strategies do we employ? All right. And when it's going up, what strategies do we employ? And then when it's hitting that plateau, what can we do? All right. So whether or not you're trying to get into Airbnb just to set Airbnbs up for yourself, or whether or not you're trying to do Airbnb and actually do them for yourself. So what I've done is I've created a business model where I can not really wholesale them, but I get paid a fee for finding them and setting them up, right? My fee, I think, is pretty reasonable compared to some other people. I only charge anywhere between $2,000 to $4,000, depending on what the return on investment is. I know one person, he charges $10,000 just for them to find the Airbnb and set everything up, which to me doesn't make any sense unless you're just killing it. You get all that money back in a year. But we're going to talk about the strategies of using Airbnbs as rentals, right? Or from rentals or from subleasing. Okay, first thing you need to know, just because they say yes does not mean that it's a good idea. Just because you find someone who is willing to sublease, I get people to call me and say, hey, I got this person is willing to sublease their apartment or their house, right? Just because they say yes, because it is a little difficult to find someone who wants to sublease. Just because they say yes doesn't necessarily mean that it is a good idea. Just like someone who's trying to wholesale, or a seller's trying to sell their house, just because they're interested in selling their property doesn't mean that it's a good wholesale deal, right? Sometimes we just have to back away or renegotiate, okay? But the overall process is a little bit more simple than looking for a wholesale property. And here's why. When we are sending out, when we're calling, we're driving for dollars and we're calling these houses or we're skip tracing them, right? Most of these people, if you guys have done this, probably most of these people don't want to sell, or they want to sell for too much, right? A lot of them don't even want to sell. So they're wondering, why are you calling their house, right? The good thing about Airbnbs, through the way that I do them, is through subleasing them, is that these people want to rent their property. They want to rent their property. And because they want to rent their property, their number or their real estate agent or their property manager's number is accessible. It's readily there. It's just right there. If you go on Zillow, you can look at it. If you go look on rent.com, you can go look at it. You can go to a lot of these places and you can find their number. You don't have to really skip trace them. They want to be found. They want to be found because they're thinking that, Sally and Bill with the 2.3 kids are going to be moving into their house, right? And that's who they're trying to attract. What I would say is this, is I would try to, when you're trying to find these properties, when you're trying to narrow them down, number one, I don't know what number I'm on now, number 2 or number 3, whatever that is, don't look for apartment complexes, right? Apartment complexes, if you're doing these things off on a one-off type of a basis, don't work. The only time that works is if you're taking down an entire building or a large portion of it, which typically means that it is owned by an individual, or it's probably owned by a company, but it's owned by a company that has an individual head figurehead, like my company, right? I make the decision about what's going on in my company, even though it's a company-owned business. And they have a 8, 10, 20, 30 unit building that they see the potential of partnering with someone who's going to run that whole business as an Airbnb. All right. There's a guy, I think he's out of Jersey, actually, that's exactly what he does. He basically goes and he looks for large apartment buildings and he structures a deal where he will run the Airbnb. Basically, like 50% or more of the apartment building is an Airbnb. Okay. And they found that to be very, very profitable. Right. But my opinion over the things for where we're at right now, the easiest way is to look for single family homes or townhomes that don't have HOAs or strict HOAs, okay? The reason why we're looking for single family homes is because you're not going to get in trouble, or no one's going to be bothering you or bothering your tenants if and when, they come in for, how Ramona does when she comes in with her girls for, a girls only trip, right? They get loud, you know what I'm saying? They bring in music, everybody's coming in and out the house, and it's just, people call the cops. You know what happened last time, Ramona, right? So those type of things, right? If you're in a single family home, you have less of a chance of problems happening. So I try to look for single family homes that are renting. I used to say, actually, and you're going to see the example I had here, and you can still do it depending on the area, but I really like to stay like under that 1,200 now. It's really getting tough. The market's getting tightening up, at least in the Atlanta area. And there are a lot of Airbnbs out there. So in order to stay competitive, what I like to do is try to stay less than that 1,200 mark. But I'm going to show you here an example of one that I sent to someone that made sense, and it was definitely over that, okay? So finding that single family home or that townhouse without an HOA, sounds in HOA, all right? We don't want the HOA because a lot of the HOAs are going to have issues with Airbnbs. And even if, here's the crazy thing about HOAs, right? Even if they don't have an issue with it today, this is why I don't like HOAs, right? For this purpose. Even if they don't have an issue with it today, they could always just do an emergency meeting and have an issue with it tomorrow, right? And then if they do that, then your money and your effort that you just poured into this thing went down the drain, okay? Next thing, you gotta learn how to evaluate these deals, okay? We gotta make sure, it's very, very crucial that we get if for yourself or for your client, that we get our money back within 10 months. Okay, has to be. We have to get our money back within 10 months. If we can get it back in 9, even better. But we have to get it back in 10 months because we are subleasing, Valencia. We're subleasing our, I just call random people's names. Don't be offended, right? We sublease or we're subleasing this apartment or this house, right? And so there's always a chance that if I am the owner, and Michael comes to me and says he wants to sublease for an HOA, for Airbnb, and I say yes, and I kind of keep my eye on Mike, and I'm like, man, Mike got people moving in and out of here. This thing look like it's a little more profitable than me just doing a straight lease. I, the owner, might say, you know what, we're not going to renew this lease. I'm just do the Airbnb myself. Or they might just say, you know what, I don't want to do Airbnbs, period. Next year, we're going to end this contract, and then you're done. So if you have a Airbnb plan and it doesn't include you making all your money back within 10 months, then it's probably not a good look. I really would shy away from it, especially if you're going to be paid by someone else. So if LaKendra says, Tommy, I need you to find me an Airbnb, all right? I am now like, she's trusting me that I'm going to find her a good Airbnb, right? So I need to make sure that she's going to make or do my best. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but do my best to make sure that she gets her money back within 10 months. Because if I project that she's going to get her money back in 13 months or a year and a month and a year, no, a year and a month, then, and the owner decides not to renew her lease, guess what? She just lost money, right? And she's gonna be looking at me because I'm the expert, right? So let's take a quick look at this. Hopefully this is gonna make some sense to you. Let me share my screen. This one. All right, let me make this smaller here. Okay, cool. So this is a property that I sent to someone that was a good property to go with, all right? So 1232 Holly Street, Northwest Atlanta, Georgia. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Renting was for $2,000 a month, okay? And this is the area where that home is at. If you see that little black dot right there by Atlantic Station, just north of 14th Street. All right, this is a hot area. If you guys are from Atlanta, you know about Atlantic Station. If you don't know about Atlanta, just take my word for it. All right. This is an area that a lot of people like to come to when they vacation. People want to come to this area, right? So this is the particular house. So this is the exact packet. Like when I put this thing together, if I have time, this is exactly what I'll send them. All right. Because I want them to always perceive my business as being a professional business, right? So I'll send them this so they get to see all the particulars of this particular property, right? We'll go here. Now, this is the Airbnb site. So what I'm showing here is what's going on in the neighborhood with the prices for these Airbnb. So we got $224 a night. We got $499 a night, $350 a night. Okay. Now, this one can fit 10 guests, 5 guests. What you need to understand is Airbnbs are the price greatly fluctuates based off how many people you can sleep. Now, here's where you have to kind of understand that people are coming here and obviously they want to be comfortable, but they're not living, a lot of them are not planning to live like they would live at home, right? So just because you have a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom doesn't mean that you can't put bunk beds in there, right? Because a lot of people are coming there with their kids. So if you can put that they are sleeping, you got, 2 bedrooms with a bunk bed, right? So you got bunk beds, so you got 4 in those bedrooms, and you got one that has a queen bed that can sleep 2, right? You're putting more beds, or I'm sorry, 2 bunk beds in each room. You're putting more heads in each room. And so when you see something like this is a 3-bedroom that sleeps 10 guests. They probably have a pull-out couch. They probably have, bunk beds, 2 bunk beds per room, right? They make it work, right? because that's how you can earn extra. That's how your property, the more people you can put in your property, the more you can charge with Airbnb. Okay, because these people are coming here. They're not just coming with, you know, one or two people. They're going to be coming with a family, or they're going to be coming with, you know, like I said, you know, bachelorette party, bachelor party, those type of things, right? They're coming to the city. They're going to come to this specific area because they want to have fun, all right? But what I'm looking for is my lowest price. So looking for my lowest price property at above 14th Street, and on the weekend. So that's important. We're going to get into why we need to look at the weekends versus weekday rates and figure out the difference. So we're looking at the lowest price is $224 on a weekend night, okay? All right, now we're looking on the weekday. So if you saw before, weekend down here, $224 on a weekend. Now we're looking at $178. And also look, I'm looking at the lowest price of $178, okay? There's some other ones that are down here, but you have to know your neighborhoods. Above 14th Street is really where you want to kind of be at. This kind of turns into a different neighborhood, okay? So $178 a weekday night, all right? Here we go. So here's how we break this thing down, all right? Our lowest weekend rate is $224 a night, okay? So what I know is that a good Airbnb, once you ramp it up and once you get some reviews, should rent for about 20 to 21 nights. 20 to 21 nights a week is a good Airbnb. That means you're doing some things, okay? So what I basically have done is broken this down to a 20-day schedule. Out of those 20 days, 8 of those days will be weekend nights. Now, I know contrary to normal calendar, I get the normal calendar, in the hotel world, Friday is a weekend, okay? It's a weekend night. So Friday and Saturday are weekend nights. Sunday starts the weekday when it comes to like hotel stuff, okay? All right, so, you know, people coming into town, they're coming in for the concerts or whatever. They're going to come in on Friday night and they're going to sleep there Friday night, be there all day Saturday, and they're going to check out on Sunday, right? So we're going to bet that 3 out of the 4 to 4.5 weekends that we have are going to be booked. That's going to be our primary bread and butter, okay? So when we do that, we're going to base, I'm sorry, not 3. We're going to base the weekends are going to be booked. I'm sorry, forgive me. The weekends are going to be booked. So all 4 are going to be booked. That's our primary bread and butter. Those are the ones that are pretty much it. If you're in a decent neighborhood, they're always going to be booked. And if they're not, we're going to talk about how to price your properties, just like I did. I just booked an Airbnb to Orlando, how to price them so that they get booked, okay? So lowest weekend rate is $224 times 8 weekend nights. That comes out to $1,792 just off of your weekend nights. Now, mind you, I was doing this, this was done in like February, which is a very, very slow period when it comes to Airbnbs, just hotels in general, right? Very slow period. And on our weekday rates, we had $178 a night. Now this, we're only doing 12 weekdays. These are Monday through Thursday, all right? That came to $2,136, all right? Our cleaning fee charged to a guest of $135 per stay, all right? We're timesing that times 8 stays. Now, this price right here, you might make a little bit of money off of it. You might be able to find someone to clean a house, a nice house in that particular area for about $100 to $120. So you might make a little bit of extra money, but typically this money right here is pretty much going all to getting it cleaned, all right? So our total revenue, once we add up our weekends, weekday, and our cleaning fee is $5,008, okay? Rent is $2,000. So our cleaning fee comes out to $800. I guess I put here for $35 for the cleaning fee. All right. Property management, 15% off the rental total, not including cleaning fee. So just these two alone, not including this. All right. $589.20. So here's our breakdown for our total gross profit: $5,800, which is our total revenue, minus our rent, minus our cleaning fee, minus our property management fee leaves us with $1,618.80. This is during the slow season. So this area right now in the summertime would the nightly rental would be more, and obviously we probably would see a lot more activity because of the summer. So this is how we figure this out. Now the rest of this is just like we do when we look at our ROI for any other rentals, right? We're going to take our monthly rent or monthly revenue, $1,618.80 times 12 months. All right, that gives us $19,425.60 a year. $19,425.60 divided by 14,000, which is what the investor needed to bring in to get to this property, would have yielded 138.75% return on investment. 138, not 13%, 138.75% return on investment. So this is in the slowest season, right? This is what I want you guys to keep in mind, all right? During the slow season, that's it. We're basing everything off of that month. I think this was like January, February. I'm pretty sure, actually almost positive it was February when I did this one, okay? So we also base the monthly rentals off of 20 days a month, not 30. Example, 8 weekends and 12 weekdays, okay? Also, we base all our projections off of the lowest rates. Depending on supply, demand, rentals, finishing, et cetera, we can be higher than the lowest rate, right? All this means is that we're looking at this as a worst case scenario with a 138.75 return on investment. Better finish, supply and demand, and higher tourist seasons would increase your return on investment, all right? So these are things that once you learn some of the basic stuff, the basic things about wholesaling, basic things that we talk about when we're showing you how to figure out your return on investment, learning these little intricate things becomes very simple, right? Because all I'm doing is I'm applying some of the return on investment stuff that we do with rentals and cap rates. We're looking on those type of things. All I'm doing is applying that stuff. I'm just using it a little bit differently, okay? The thing that you just need to figure out is how do you get into these properties for those prices, okay? Most of these places, they're gonna request first and security, all right? So in that particular case, the rent was $2,000, so that's $4,000 right there. I know you guys couldn't hear it, but I've said it before, and man, you could furnish an entire house for $3,000 or less, really. I was talking with Steve, who was doing the meetup, and he was saying, man, $4,000 or less for sure. And he says a lot of times his is well under $3,000. And I know people think, well, how can you furnish a house for $3,000? Trust me, when you're doing this and you're looking at it from a business standpoint, you'll be amazed on some of the stuff that you can find when you're not shopping for yourself, when you're shopping, looking at it from a business standpoint, right? You just need beds, you just need a table, you just need a couch and a TV. It's not that, you don't need to go to where was that place, Haverty's or whatever, to buy all this expensive furniture, right? I'm not even saying IKEA, right? You might go to IKEA for some basic things, but you don't need to be in IKEA spending all your money, because you will spend more than $3,000 in IKEA. Facebook Marketplace, right, is a man, you can find a lot of stuff in Facebook Marketplace. Connecting with property managers, like some of you guys should be doing that anyway, just off of for the wholesale tip. But when you connect with property managers, especially property managers that maybe manage like buildings, where maybe they have some investors that own apartment buildings. Those staging companies, some staging companies, yeah, maybe if they're going to liquidate, but I'm saying property managers, because what happens is inevitably, like I have a friend of mine that's a property manager over in the Battery, and he hit me up and said, hey, someone found out that they were doing an Airbnb in the Battery, which they don't allow that. And they're like, they're swift with it, man. They're like, everything has to be out like within 24 hours. And a lot of times people just leave the stuff and then they just put it right out there, right? And say, hey, if you want it, come get it. If not, we're putting it in the trash. So you can come up with some really nice stuff just by making connections with property managers. So a lot of different ways to get into stuff for very, very, very cheap. So that is the biggest thing that eats up a lot of people's cost. Okay. The other thing I want you to understand is that when you're working with these Airbnbs, you are not coming to stay just a regular stay. Like most people want to have an experience, and they don't want to just come stay in a house that's just like theirs, right? They want to have something a little bit special. Like we're going. Oh, make sure you ain't around here. We're leaving tomorrow morning for Disney World, right? And so we were looking at all different types of stuff. I was looking at houseboats. I was looking at staying in tree houses and all these other different things. Right? I want to have like an experience. I want to have a fun time, right? I don't want to just go stay in another house, right? So a lot of people have the exact same thing. Maybe they don't want to stay in a tree house. Maybe they're not that adventurous, but maybe they wouldn't mind staying in a house that has one of the bedrooms is made into like some whimsical, forest, right? Where they have astroturf for grass or for carpet, and they have lights all through the ceiling, right? Their kids are going to love it. The kids are going to, when they see that, they're going to be like, yeah, I want to stay at that one, right? And you're going to stand out amongst the crowd of other Airbnbs. Like that's why I put like games inside the Airbnb. Like that's why I put air hockey tables and foosball tables and those type of things inside Airbnbs, because it makes you stand out. That's why you get a projector and make a little movie theater for less than $300 with some Papazon chairs, and you set them up in a semicircle with a screen on the wall, and you buy a little projector for $200 off of Facebook Marketplace, and now you have a movie theater. It's different, right? So it adds that little extra flair into it. So when people are scrolling through the pictures, people rent Airbnbs off of reviews and photos, right? So if you have something different and unique, like the Airbnb I stayed in Chicago last week, it was like an open loft, like artist studio, and it was unique. It was different, right? So I chose to stay at that one, right? So that's what we need to look for. That's what we need to do in order to make our Airbnb rent on a regular basis. Now, what happens when your Airbnb is out there and it's not being rented? Man, it's like it's Thursday and your weekend price, no one's rented it for that particular weekend. What a lot of people do, one of the problems, and this is what I learned from Steve, this is the difference between just having an Airbnb and having an Airbnb business, right? Some people do have this idea. Froze.
If you guys are new to the group, this usually happens about once or twice during this call.
Sean, we told him about using his neighbor's Wi-Fi. He won't listen.
Nah, man, it's crazy because I was there last Sunday on the call, and his went out, but I was still on, but I was in his house, so I don't know what's going on with it.
See, you his family. You're supposed to be putting them on. You're not helping them out, brother.
All right. Sorry about that. So pricing our Airbnbs, right? So a lot of people just do like this set it and forget it thing where they just set the price and then they just leave it there. So I found an Airbnb last minute because I know how the cycle kind of works here, right? So we're looking for one to check in tomorrow, right? And so I waited into this weekend because I know about 2 to 3 days out, a person who has an Airbnb business who is paying attention to what's going on. Someone hear me? Can everybody hear me? I thought I heard somebody say something. Okay. What they're doing is they're going to pay attention to their business and to their market. So if they don't see that, like this person did, they didn't see that their place was booked for a Monday, Tuesday, and a Wednesday. So what they did, they dropped their price down to something that was so irresistible that it was just like a no-brainer for me to rent it. I got that Airbnb down in Orlando. I'm paying, you guys are not going to, like, just, it's amazing. I'm paying $20 a night, okay, for this Airbnb, right? And it's right there on this park. It's overlooking the park. Beautiful looking place, right? So, but instead of that place going and being vacant and making no money, this guy's now making money, right? He's getting something for that stay or for those nights. So when I look at his availability, so if you guys go on your phone, you can open up the Airbnb app, and if you do not choose a date, let me see if I can see it and put it on here so you can see it. If you just choose a location and you don't choose a date, what will happen is it'll let you see what dates are available for that particular individual Airbnb. All right, let me just see Orlando. And oops, let's go back. So when you look at it, it'll say, okay, it'll have like a little X of the dates that are available that are not available, excuse me. So if you just go on there and you type in, I'm going to Orlando, Florida real quick. And once it loads up. So right here, it's loading up right there, right? I'm not going to choose a date. I'm just going to leave that date open. And I'm just going to start looking for homes. Now, what I like to do is I like to go to this little portion right here where the map is at, okay? So I'm going to hit that little button where the map is at. And this is how I'll find, once it loads up, this is how I'll find where my location is. So what I literally will do is once I find someone who is willing to sublease, I will find out where they are in the map, and then I will go to Airbnb and I will just zoom in on that particular area. So let me just do that real quick. I'm just going to find a random one. So I'm here, right? And I was going to click on this one right. Hold up, I can't see nothing. Hold up. Click on that one right there. All right, so it's pulling up now. Now, once I pull this thing up, I can go ahead and hit book right here at the bottom, or check availability, I should say, right? Once I hit this check availability, you're going to see all the ones that are available and all the ones that aren't available. Okay? So once you do that, you can kind of see what type of neighborhood this is. And this is what you want to do if you're looking for an Airbnb for yourself, or if you're going to essentially find an Airbnb for someone else. You want to go all those houses that I showed you. I went through each one of those to check to see how well are they doing, okay? How well are they performing? Because I want to see that they're booked. I don't want to just see that they have a price of $224 for the lowest night. I want to see that those houses are being booked. So once you do that test right there, don't put a date in. When you put a date in, it's not going to show you all that, okay? But once you just leave the dates open and you check them, you can go ahead and do that. Now, there's one other thing I'm going to show you here, another piece of software that you guys can get. Could you address what to do when the Airbnb doesn't rent for a weekend? So that's what I was talking about, Carla. What you're going to do is you're going to do just like that person did. You're going to drop your price to something that's below what all the other places are asking, so you can get that rental income coming in, okay? Let me do this one more time, share my desktop. So there's a software called airdna.co. Get this out of the way. All right. So AirDNA, all right. This is the software that I use. All right. You have to pay by city. So if you want information about, like if I wanted information about Atlanta, I'd have to pay for Atlanta, right? But what I want to show you guys here, it gives you a lot of this data. So if you don't want to do it the way I kind of show you the harder way, you can kind of do it this way is a little bit easier. It gives you a lot of data on what things are going for, the type of market you're in, the occupancy rate, the average daily rate, right? The general revenue. What I like to see is look at, where is it at? Where is it? Revenue? Trying to find, there's a tab here where it has, oh, right here, right in front of me. Top properties, right? So this is just for Smyrna, Georgia, okay? So you can see what the top properties are doing. So this property right here is making $64,200 a year, okay? $64,000 a year, $60,000 a year, 51, 47, and it goes down, and 33,500, okay? So you can kind of get an idea of what houses are, what type of properties are doing the best. Now, keep in mind, this is cool to see this one right here. Actually, I know this property right here. This is right down the street from me. This is cool to see this property right here is $37,500 a year. But how big is their mortgage, right? You got to keep that in mind. So we can't just get so wowed by looking at the revenue. Just because this is a high revenue, what if their expenses came to $40,000 a year for this particular property, right? But what you can do is you can kind of get an idea of what is renting. Here's a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Let me look at this one here, because this one looks like, I think I know where this one is at as well. And you can kind of model this, right? So now I can see right now what she's renting, what Crystal is renting her properties for. She has 38 reviews, which is great, 5-star reviews. And kind of look at how she's marketing her property. And you can just literally copy and paste some of this stuff if it applies, obviously, okay? So AirDNA, really, really good software. If you're getting, just know that it is very, very location specific. So entire houses on average in this particular area going for 137. Private rooms are 50 and shared rooms are 23. Occupancy rate, we're looking at 65% occupancy rate. So this is pretty decent with a 29 days booking lead time. I mean, people are booking 29 days in advance on average, all right? There's 223 booked properties. You're really frustrated with this internet here. What was the last thing you guys heard? Because I was just talking. Anybody? Can anybody help me out? Duke, you hear anything? Nobody? Nobody heard anything? What was the last thing anybody I heard? Y'all heard?
You was talking about the property down the street and 36,000.
Okay. All right. Let me go back to that. I'm going to do this quick because I don't know when the next time it's going to do that. Over here, we're looking at, has a whole bunch of data. So right here, we're saying that right now, it's going up 14%. We're at 65% occupancy rate with 29 days booking lead time. This means that 29 days in advance, people are booking these properties, right? And 223 of the properties are currently booked, all right? Again, here's our rates. Okay, we can see that there, how we're performing and that we're going up. Revenue-wise, it's just going to be the aggregate of what they're making. Entire homes are going for about $1,800. Private rooms, $732. Shared rooms, $484. Now, keep in mind, this is on average. You do your property differently, this could definitely go up, okay? Again, guests. We got 797 guest arrivals. And so this is something that you want to keep an eye on because you want to know how many people are actually coming to the area versus how many bookings are being done, right? Because when you can see, if you see out of these 797 that they only have about a quarter of the bookings, where you're saying, okay, you're gonna kind of get a feel of how many, when people are coming, how many people they're bringing, right? So if I have a studio and I can only sleep 4, right, and in a particular area, like where I'm at now, and like kind of like the suburban area, it might not do as well, right? A studio in the city, that might work, right? Because you got some people that are coming in just for business, or they're more really concerned with just being like right there in the action, okay? So all this information, AirDNA does for you, kind of gives you an idea of what you should be pricing. So right now we are, what is today, the 16th? So we got, as you can see here, 73 have been booked. There's 104 rentals available, okay? The median is, that are booked are 109. The median that are available are 200. So look at that. So out of the ones that aren't booked, look at the price point versus the ones that are booked, okay? So that tells you, in this particular case, this is something that if you want to get booked, you might want to drop your price. Because to me, I'd rather have $109 per night for a house that I think might be worth $200 than have $0 just because I want to be stubborn, right? So this is all great data for you to look at, and all great data for you to kind of like pay attention to. Okay, so let me go back now. That's what I was kind of saying before. I'm gonna open this thing up for Q&A. Do you guys have any questions? Any questions? Everybody's ready and knows everything about Airbnb? Nothing? Wow. How do we get in contact with them? What do we say? Nothing? Okay. All right. How much setup with Airbnb? Ramona, what do you mean how much setup? You can just take yourself off mute.
I actually have a rental property that the tenants will be leaving. We're not sure actually, September or February. It's one of those. And I'm looking to do an Airbnb on that house. I guess, is it, I guess just you go to Airbnb?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Hold on. All right. We're not gonna be able to use this. Where are you at, Ramona?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay. Let's go to Airbnb. Oops.
It's a 4. The driveway could probably hold 4 cars. So I mean, it actually can.
Okay.
And it's
I don't know
really
if
close.
I don't know if your microphone jack is kind of like barely in there, but it's staticky.
How's that now?
Yeah, that's good right there. If you hold it right there. Homes. And so what's kind of difficult to do here is put in the address. So what we're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to kind of zero me in an area. So are you more up here?
No, hold on. I gotta move my screen over a little bit. Okay, so if you see where it says Mill Cove,
Just give me like this is north, obviously south, east, and west. Which side?
go east. Go east. Yep. Do you see where it says Mill Cove?
Yep, Mill Cove, right here.
All right, go east of that. Keep going a little bit east and see where it's all gray and green.
Right
Yeah,
here?
right in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll zoom in this area.
Not where it's bright green. That's a golf course. Over where it's this other lighter olive green. Yeah.
Here?
Yeah, in that vicinity.
Okay. So we're looking here, and we need to look for entire homes. Okay. Apply. All right. So we're in this particular area, somewhere around here. Are we below Mount Pleasant Road? Are we in this area?
No. Above Mount Pleasant. You see that see where right where your hand is? That's right where it is.
Okay. All right. So as you guys can see, as we move, right, because some of these houses.
Uh-oh, you froze again.
Are you guys still there? You guys still? Okay. Cool.
Yeah, you're
All
back.
right.
You're back. I don't know what you said.
As we zoom in, a lot of times you'll start to see stuff pop up. But right now, the only thing I'm seeing over here is the closest thing to this one right here. Let's take a look at this particular property. It's 115 a night. It's this one right here. And we can kind of get a feel for what the property is like. So the thing about Airbnbs is that you just kind of have to be in the vicinity, right? You have to kind of be in the vicinity to see what they're doing. All right. So this one, what I see here is we have pretty much this whole week open. And into this week. So they were booked this week or this month, and they have 1, 2, 3 bookings later on this month. So let me see what they got on next month. Let's see what they look for July. July's not looking good. Not looking good. Okay. Yeah, so this is one of them at 115. And that might just be because how big is your property?
It's 2,400 square feet.
Okay. So it's a lot bigger property. How many bedrooms?
4, 2 bath.
All right. So you could definitely sleep a lot more than what this particular house is. And I'm looking at this. This is a guest house as well.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, it is a guest house. Let's see if we can go back and see it one more. So this is literally what I'm going to do. If I don't have AirDNA, I'm literally going to go and try to find, this looks like this might be on the water. Yeah, that's on the water. So your house is not on the water, is it?
No. It's actually kind of borders a national park.
Okay. Yeah, these look like they're all on the water except for this one. Oh, that's the same one. What's this
Another
one?
guest house. Those are probably guest house. That's Queens Harbor. We get a lot of football players that live there.
Oh, okay.
The Jaguars.
Got you. So this is an entire house. This is not a guest house right here.
I know that house.
You know that house?
I do.
So this whole month of June is booked for this particular one.
Wow.
But July's not looking too good. Okay. So this month good, but not this month. Okay. So we basically just going to kind of go through here and just keep pulling data. We're going to go through this one after one. Let me see if I can find another one if we slide over. There's really nothing immediately in this particular area. Let's see if I slide a little bit.
So does that mean it's not needed, or there's just?
No, it just means that they're right. Not maybe that's not needed, but like I can't. How do I get rid of this thing here?
Don't ask me.
I know, right? Won't go away. There we go. Not necessarily that it's not needed, but if they are if there's a whole bunch of them priced at this 115, that looks like that's the market. I probably would, especially in the beginning, it's a good idea to go low to get reviews.
Oh, you froze again. Can you hear us?
Yeah, it's frozen. Goodness gracious. Let's see. Hang tight, guys. Sorry about that, guys. He's gonna be he'll be right back. Just hang tight. Got about 7 more minutes on the call anyway, but I'm sure he's gonna jump right back on. All right, he's back. Welcome back. Unmute yourself, Tommy.
Let me. I just want to show y'all this real quick. I got to show you this. I got full bars. I don't know what's going on my computer, or not the internet. And I'm really doing this for Dave because I know he's gonna rag on me when we get done. But I got full bars. I don't know what it is. I can't figure it out. Anyway, that's what I just wanted to show you. But anyway, Ramona, what I'm saying is that, or what I was saying is that a good idea is always to start off with a lower price. So if that price is 115, it looks like that one house is getting booked for 115. You might want to bring it down so you can get reviews. And once people start seeing the reviews that you have a nice clean place, people start to book it. Especially if you already have it, try it out for a little bit, right? Try it out for a little bit and see if it does better, right? I mean, I don't know what the rental rate is there, so you won't need. What's your rental rate in that particular neighborhood?
$1,650 to $1,700.
$1,650 to $1,700. So, all right, I guess I would try to see what you could get. Yeah, around that 110 mark for, see what you can get for that for at least a month and see what happens. I mean, you own the property, so it's not like, you're subleasing, right? You might turn that thing into a gold mine where it's, especially now during this time of season, this is the good season to do it in.
Yeah, well, I've got to wait for their Navy, so when they get their next duty station, they'll be heading out. So,
all right, cool.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem. Why are some cities outlawing Airbnbs? Because some cities realize that they're not getting. What happens is when you do an Airbnb, or I'm sorry, when you go to a regular hotel, a lot of times you receive that city tax or that county tax, that hotel tax. They're not getting that, right? And they're getting upset about it. So because it's taking away revenue from the hotels. Like if you didn't have that Airbnb, you would just have to go to a hotel, which means the city or the county would get that tax. And then some of them are not really outlawing it. It's just that you have to get a certificate of occupancy. And again, the city wants their money. So yeah. All right. Anything else? Any other questions? I know some people have put some stuff in the chat, but every time this thing logs off, I'm going back tonight, and maybe I need to. Is anybody in here like they know about Wi-Fi and stuff like that? Anybody know because I'm just thinking. Only thing I think is that maybe my was it a router? What is that? Was the router not strong enough or something like that? Thing to push the signal out, even though I got a full signal here. That's the only thing I can think of. Does anybody else have any ideas?
Who's your provider? Your internet provider?
Spectrum.
Woo, that's the reason right there.
Yeah, we dumped Comcast because we'd drop all the time.
Well, see, I had Comcast before in my other place, and it did the exact same thing. I had Comcast, and it would do this every so often. It would just cut.
Right. That's why we dropped Comcast. I've got Xfinity now, and it never drops. It's fantastic.
You don't have Fios out there, Tommy?
What's that?
You don't have Fios out there?
No.
Oh, man. You hate to see it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I was going to go with Comcast, but that's what happened in Comcast, and I was like, and another option was not Xfinity, was this Spectrum. I don't know if I can get Xfinity here. I'd have to check.
Do you have AT&T Uverse?
Do I have what?
AT&T Uverse? You have AT&T Internet?
I think because I've seen some AT&T trucks around here. I think I do.
You're right. I'm sorry. I think I said Xfinity. I have Uverse.
You have Uverse. Huh.
Yeah. My bad. Yeah, it's great. Never drops.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man. I reset the modem. I've done everything, man. I prayed over it. Nothing. I think the only thing I'm gonna do, I don't know if I can get a bigger modem or router. Well, I don't know the difference between a modem or a router. I just know whatever I got, maybe I'm just gonna fix it by getting a bigger one, hopefully. But anyway, it has nothing to do with wholesaling. And have them test the internet speed. Yeah, I should do that. Probably.
Hold on. I have an app for you to test internet speed. Let me see. Okay, it's called Speed Test. It looks like this. And you touch it. Actually, tell you you're uploading and downloading.
Okay, so I got to download it on my phone. Okay, I'll do that because I know I don't want to bore you guys. Does anybody else have any questions? It doesn't have to be about Airbnbs. It can be about wholesaling or, something somebody wants to buy me for Father's Day.
Have you ever bought a house with an auction?
Actually, yes. It was kind of cool. Me and Max bought one online. Actually, we did it live. We did a program live. We purchased one. Got the house for $7,500. The winning bid was.
Wow, that's.
Yeah.
Was that in North Carolina?
That was in Macon, Georgia, at a private auction. Yeah.
Okay.
You just got to know your stuff. Because that money is gone. You got to you just pay attention because you got to do your homework all before the auction starts to make sure that because a lot of these houses, like the one we got had tenants in it, right? So we didn't know what it looked like on the inside. And so, you got to make sure you do all your homework and make sure you understand that market.
What auction website was it?
It was a private auction. I have to look that up for you because they don't do them often. It was like a person's name. This was back in, I don't know, I want to say like October or November of last year. So I have to find out.
Okay.
But yeah, I would definitely if you're interested in doing that, make sure that you really understand what the market is in that particular area, because you could definitely lose some money. I'm doing my speed test now. So I don't even know what's good and what's bad. All right. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yes. Who's this?
Pardon me.
I can't.
Are you frozen? Oh, okay, cool. So I seen I was driving for dollars and I seen a double wide trailer, but it's surrounded by homes. And normally when I attempt to do the ARV, I do it through like Zillow, like seeing the other houses that's around it.
Mhm.
But you do that when it's a trailer?
Well, so you got a trailer and a double wide trailer with new construction homes or just regular homes? What are we talking about? Was it a rural area and
Well,
it's just out in the field?
it's kind of the homes around it regular, but there is new development behind it, like 2 new subdivisions behind it.
Okay. So what I would look at, what area are you in?
It's in Fountain Inn area, South Carolina.
South Carolina. Okay. So I would look at what new construction costs are. That's why I was asking you what area, because if you were here in the Atlanta area, I could tell you what those are. But for example, in Atlanta area, a brand new build is going to be about $100, $100 per square foot. Okay, $100 per square foot for a brand new build, because an investor is probably going to come and look at that, and if you just got these two or this double wide here and everything around it is all new builds or fairly new, investors probably going to look at taking that, removing those trailers, maybe towing them away, putting them somewhere else, and then putting a new build on there, putting a new house on there to get their the highest and best use of their dollar. So in order to do that, you need to know the price per square foot of what it's going to cost. Hello?
Okay, so just act like it's new construction, act like nothing is there. Because in front of it is like an older neighborhood, and it's just behind this new development.
It's just, I would think that it's probably worth more from a wholesale standpoint if you could find a buyer who is willing to do the new build, right? Because they're going to look at really how much you're going to get for it if it's just wholesaling the trailers. I don't know what kind of condition they're in. Some trailers are very nice, obviously, but they're probably going to be able to get a higher price point for if you found someone who's going to kind of develop that and do a new build on it.
Okay, cool.
I mean, if you want to keep the trailer in place, then you're probably really looking at more of a rental type of a deal, right? Where you're going to figure out how much the rents are going for and give them a return on investment estimate.
Okay, well,
Okay.
let me ask you too, because that kind of throws me off, like when it is like older neighborhoods and new developments, because when it shows the home sold, and they're showing these new developments, and of course it's going to be higher than other areas. So what do you do in that case?
You're going to have to obviously you're going to have to look at if you have a house that's built in the 1950s, and there's some other houses that are built in the 1950s, 1960s, but then you got this house that was this new development where all the houses were built between 2014 until now. You can't really compare those two properties. Only thing that you can do with those numbers are seeing where the market is headed to, but you can't really compare a house that's built in the 1950s to one that's built in, a brand new, in a subdivision, in a little, division. So what you're gonna have to look for there are homes that are being bought and sold that are in that price point. In that year range, like the older homes. You're probably not seeing them on Zillow maybe or whatever you're using. I would first, if you don't have anybody to reach out to, I would first try to use multiple sources. So I'll pretty much at this point only use Zillow when I'm not using MLS, but use Redfin, use Realtor.com, use some of the other resources that are out there, because sometimes they'll show different data. And then you can always, try to connect with a realtor, or what's the thing that Max just released something where you basically use you get the MLS in all 50 states for like $97 a month. I forgot
Max
the name of
property
it.
data.
Yeah, there you go. Max property data. So now you can do that for $97 and you can get on the MLS and you can get a little more information.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, but there's no magic around that. Like if you got, I mean, of course, if there's a, like, down the street from me, there's a new subdivision that's built. Right? I mean, I can't sell this house based off the price per square foot of those homes. They're in a gated community and everything else, right? So I mean, that just makes sense. So you just kind of have to kind of find out what those houses that are kind of similar to yours, what they're going for, and what they're doing there for price per square foot, and then apply that to your subject property. Okay. Sean, where are you at? Am I still on? Okay. I see people moving, so that's good. Oh, shoot.
Hey,
Sean,
Tommy.
are you there? There you go.
Yeah, what up? Hey, the young lady that was just talking about the double wide trailer, I just wanted to see where it was because I do have buyers here. I don't know how. She said South Carolina. I'm in Charleston. I do have a lot of buyers that are interested in trailers, moving them to a park that they just built, and then I have buyers that want to build houses as well. So.
Okay, well, I'm in like, it's near Greenville though.
Okay, yeah, I'm in Charleston, so I was seeing if I could help you out.
Unless they want to come up here, hey.
I'll ask most of the one of the guys. He pretty much goes anywhere in South Carolina, but I'll ask. Matter of fact, I'll send him a text right now. And what's your name? I could look you up on the Facebook page.
I'll shoot you my information.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome. All right. So I'm getting thumbs down on my internet speed.
That's bad. That speed is horrible, Tommy.
Maybe that's the problem. It's frozen again?
No, not really.
Oh, we're back.
Tommy, you should be getting 100 plus megabits per second. Because I mean, can you see that, Tommy?
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're getting what you're getting. That's the reason why we left Comcast right there. They throttle it back, and then they make you pay more. You're probably paying, I don't know, $100 a month for that crap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's $60 a month for us, so it's cheap.
It's crazy.
And it never drops.
Well, I'm gonna have to figure this thing out. This is getting ridiculous. When you do the speed test, you have to do one plugged into the BET modem, the other on the Wi-Fi, just to see if there's an issue with the router. Okay. All right. I'm just gonna call somebody. I don't know what I'm talking about. And have them come do it. I appreciate you guys. Hey, we're gonna wrap this thing up. It's 8 o'clock on Father's Day. Hopefully you guys are doing something good for your for fathers in your lives or something. And we don't seem to have too many more questions. Uverse. Okay, I'm gonna look for that. And I think we're gonna wrap this thing up. If you guys have questions, any more questions about the Airbnb, try to keep your questions for the following week. I would try to get this guy to come in next week. I can't guarantee that, but I'm gonna try to get him so he can talk about the management side of Airbnbs and some of the other things that you should be looking for, so we can kind of put a total picture for it. This is how to find them, how to figure out whether or not they're a good deal or not, but also learning how to manage them and what to expect is also something that's super important. That's kind of what we talked about on Thursday at the meetup. So, all right, I think we'll wrap this thing up since we don't have any more questions. And I appreciate you guys. You guys have a blessed one. All the dads, once again, have happy Father's Day. Love you guys and take care. Let's make some money. Peace.